stop. Right now, someone is playing you. Not with force, not with threats, but with something far more dangerous. Your goodness. And the most twisted part? You don't even see it happening. You think you're being kind, patient, fair, but while you're calculating fairness, they're calculating you, your patterns, your reactions, your breaking point. This world doesn't reward the cleanest heart, it rewards the sharpest mind. Machiavelli was never teaching people how to be evil. That's what weak thinkers say when truth makes them uncomfortable. What he actually taught was far more dangerous: awareness, survival, position. How to stand upright in a room where everyone else is already lying. Look closely at your life, at work, in social circles. The people who manipulate the most don't look aggressive, they look calm, reasonable, smiling, while quietly rearranging the board against you. This is not a motivation video, this is a field manual. In the next minutes, you'll learn the psychological principles Machiavelli understood centuries ago. Principles that still decide who gets controlled and who becomes untouchable. If you've ever felt like you're playing chess while everyone else knows the real rules, you're right. And I'm about to show you the board. Drop "I see the game" in the comments now, and let's begin. Machiavelli understood something most people refuse to accept. The people who get destroyed aren't the weak ones. They're the good ones. You're consistent, transparent. You treat people the same way across situations, expecting the same moral standard in return. And that consistency? It's a roadmap for anyone who wants to use you. Dirty players don't hunt power directly, they hunt patterns. They watch who pauses before responding, who gives the benefit of the doubt, who feels uncomfortable with silence, who rushes to clarify intentions, who feels guilty asserting boundaries. These aren't flaws, they're signals, and signals invite exploitation. A good person assumes shared values. You assume the rules are mutual. You assume fairness is universal. That assumption is the opening. The moment you believe the other side will act the way you would act, you hand them control over timing, tone, and outcome. Morality without awareness becomes predictability. And predictability in hostile environments isn't virtue, it's exposure. When someone knows how long you'll tolerate disrespect, how much confusion you'll excuse, how many chances you'll give before pushing back, they're no longer guessing, they're calculating. This is why dirty players escalate slowly. A delay, a misrepresentation, a subtle shift of responsibility. Then they watch. If you stay polite, they advance. If you stay hopeful, they continue. If you explain instead of observe, they adjust. Good people believe restraint earns respect, but restraint without leverage invites pressure. The danger isn't kindness, the danger is being readable. Dirty players don't fear your ethics, they fear uncertainty. They fear people who don't reveal thresholds early, who don't rush to restore balance, who observe quietly instead of correcting immediately. The solution isn't cruelty, it's strategic ambiguity. You don't need to change who you are internally, you need to change what you reveal externally. You don't owe consistency to those who haven't earned trust. You don't owe clarity to those collecting information. You don't owe predictability to people who benefit from your hesitation. Once you stop filling silence, you regain control. Once you stop volunteering your limits, you stop being easy. Machiavelli understood this deeply. Raw force attracts resistance. When strength is obvious, others prepare. But when power is hidden, people relax. They expose themselves without realizing it. This is controlled weakness, not submission, strategy.
Dirty players don't fear aggression as much as they fear unpredictability. Loud dominance is easy to respond to. Silent capability is not. When you appear fully capable, people become cautious. They speak less. They give you less. But when you allow small gaps to be seen, the atmosphere shifts. Controlled weakness is allowing others to underestimate your awareness, your reach, your intent. It's choosing when not to correct, when not to challenge, when not to reveal understanding. This restraint creates false safety. People assume they're ahead. They rush, they over-explain, they expose priorities they normally protect. Impatience is born from perceived advantage. The mistake most people make is proving competence too early. The moment others realize you're tracking everything, they stop revealing. Controlled weakness keeps the channel open. There's power in letting assumptions remain uncorrected. If someone believes you didn't notice a tactic, they repeat it. Patterns emerge. Intent becomes visible. Selective display disrupts calculation. Without a stable model of you, people hesitate. The most dangerous person in the room is the one whose full capacity remains unknown.
Those who wait gather information that others give away freely. Every second you don't respond, the other side fills the silence with assumptions. They wonder what you know, what you've noticed, what you might be preparing. This uncertainty creates internal noise, and noise weakens strategy. Dirty players are comfortable only when they can measure you. Reaction speed is measurement. Emotional tone is measurement. Explanation is measurement. Remove those and orientation disappears. They don't know where they stand with you anymore. This is why delayed response feels uncomfortable to good people. Good people are conditioned to restore balance quickly, to reassure, to clarify, to smooth tension. Dirty players exploit this reflex. They create urgency on purpose, deadlines, pressure, emotional framing. Not because time matters, but because your reaction does. Urgency compresses thinking. It collapses options. It forces instinct instead of strategy. When you pause, you stretch the moment, and in that stretch, power shifts. Machiavelli understood that time is not neutral. It belongs to whoever controls it. The one who waits decides the tempo, and tempo determines outcome. This doesn't mean silence forever. It means silence until leverage appears. Observe what happens when you don't reply immediately. Follow-up messages arrive. Tone changes. Explanations multiply. What began as confidence becomes persuasion. What began as pressure becomes justification. Each new message reveals more than the first ever did. This is the paradox. The less you say, the more others speak, and the more they speak, the clearer their position becomes. Now understand how this connects to positioning. Dirty players design situations where your response is visible and theirs is invisible. They wait for moments when others are watching, meetings, group chats, public settings. They introduce ambiguity, then step back. If you react emotionally, contrast forms. If you defend yourself, attention shifts. If you explain, narrative control transfers. The environment does the work for them. This is why restraint is misinterpreted as weakness by those who don't understand power. In reality, restraint is refusal to play inside a bad frame. When you don't rush to respond, you deny completion. When you don't explain, you deny interpretation. When you don't defend, you deny accusation. The frame remains unfinished, and unfinished frames make people uneasy. Most people can't tolerate open loops. They crave resolution. Dirty players depend on this craving, especially in others. When you don't close the loop, they often try to do it for you.
That's when mistakes happen. That's when intent slips. That's when positioning becomes visible. Now return to fairness. Fairness feels virtuous because it promises balance without conflict. But balance only exists when both sides respect the same boundaries. The moment one side abandons restraint, fairness becomes asymmetry. You restrict yourself, they don't. That gap is not moral superiority, it's strategic disadvantage. Machiavelli knows this. They rely on your hesitation to escalate, your discomfort with appearing too much, your fear of being misunderstood. They weaponize your self-image. They push just far enough to provoke reaction, but not far enough to justify consequence. And when you respond proportionately, they accuse you of excess. This accusation isn't moral, it's tactical. It pulls you back into defense. The moment you begin arguing about fairness, you've already lost position, because now you're explaining again. Machiavelli understood that power is enforced, not explained. Rules without consequence are suggestions. Boundaries without action are decoration. Accuracy corrects imbalance directly, without emotion, without apology. Accuracy doesn't seek approval, it restores leverage. This is why dirty players fear people who respond cleanly, not kindly. Clean responses create cost. Kind responses create comfort. Comfort invites repetition. Cost changes behavior. And this brings us back to time. When you combine delay with accuracy, pressure reverses. You don't respond immediately. You observe. You let behavior repeat. Then you act once, decisively. No explanation, no escalation, no debate. This shocks manipulators. They expect emotion or compliance. They don't expect calm consequence. That single action carries more weight than 10 explanations ever could, because it signals something dangerous to them. You are not governed by urgency. You are not governed by guilt. You are not governed by appearance. You are governed by position. And once that becomes clear, the dynamic changes. They slow down. They test less. They adjust language. They search for safer ground. Not because you became aggressive, but because you became expensive. This is the hidden architecture behind silence, delay, and restraint. They are not passive tools, they are pressure systems. When used together, they force the other side to reveal itself, while you remain unreadable. And unreadable people are the hardest to manipulate, because manipulation requires prediction, and prediction requires data. Silence removes data. Delay distorts data. Accuracy limits data. What remains is uncertainty, and uncertainty makes even dirty players cautious. This is why Machiavelli never advised constant reaction. He advised control of exposure. Say less, reveal later, move once. Those who rush feel powerful, briefly. Those who wait remain powerful, consistently. Remember this: the person who reacts first gives information. The person who reacts last controls meaning, and meaning decides outcome.
There's one final tactic: identity confusion. Control becomes effortless once someone loses internal certainty. Dirty players rarely attack your actions first. They attack your self-image, not openly, quietly. A comment framed as curiosity. A comparison slipped into conversation. Concern disguised as care. You've changed. Is that really you? I thought you were different. Nothing accusatory, nothing concrete, just enough to make you look inward at the wrong moment. Doubt slows movement. Hesitation fractures decisions, and fractured decisions are easy to steer. When someone questions who you are, they weaken how you act. This is why identity is always targeted before behavior. People who know who they are don't need permission. They don't seek confirmation. They don't explain alignment. Their actions are anchored internally. The defense is not argument, it's internal anchoring. Identity must be defined privately, not negotiated socially. Once your values are self-established, manipulation fails, because manipulation requires internal debate, and certainty ends debate. Dirty players thrive in ambiguity of self. They need you asking, am I being fair? Am I overreacting? Am I wrong? The moment those questions disappear, leverage evaporates. Now comes the final layer, inconsistency. Stability comforts observers. Unpredictability unsettles manipulators. Predictable people are easy to position, easy to time, easy to provoke. Consistency becomes entitlement. People begin to expect access, expect response, expect explanation. Controlled inconsistency breaks anticipation. It's choosing when to engage and when to withdraw. Without pattern, influence weakens. You answer sometimes, you delay other times, you show up selectively, not randomly, strategically. This isn't chaos, it's selective availability. Inconsistency restores boundaries without announcement. No confrontation, no justification, just absence where entitlement expected presence. This confuses manipulators. They rely on rhythm, they rely on habit, they rely on you being where you always are. When rhythm breaks, they lose calibration. Now add walking away. Disengagement destabilizes those dependent on reaction. No audience, no leverage. Walking away is not weakness, it's removal of supply. Manipulators feed on attention, reaction, access. When access disappears, so does their advantage. Walking away signals self-sufficiency. It says, I don't need resolution, I don't need validation, I don't need you to understand. Uncertainty replaces confidence. Power often survives through dependency. Remove dependency and pressure collapses. This is why walking away triggers panic in those who thought they controlled you. Not anger, panic, because they no longer know where they stand. Walking away doesn't mean disappearing forever. It means choosing presence strategically, returning only when conditions favor you, not when emotions pull you, not when guilt pushes you. Presence becomes a resource, not a habit. And the strongest signal isn't resistance, it's indifference. Indifference communicates independence. It tells others you are not reactive, not desperate, not emotionally accessible by default. Indifference is expensive to manipulate. Finally, understand this truth. Machiavelli never promised harmony. He promised position. Harmony requires shared values. Position requires awareness. Dirty players operate where access exists. They don't waste energy on closed systems. When interacting with you becomes expensive, behavior changes. Tone softens, tests stop. Boundaries appear, suddenly respected. Not because you argued better, but because access became limited. Becoming untouchable doesn't require dominance. It requires self-command. Measured reactions, minimal explanation, selective engagement. You don't need to control others. You need to control access. Access to your time, your energy, your emotions, your attention. When access closes, manipulation dies. No audience, no stage, no leverage. You are no longer easy, no longer predictable, no longer cheap to influence. At that point, dirty players don't fight you, they avoid you. Because the hardest person to manipulate is the one who doesn't need to be understood. If this changed how you see people, don't rush past it. Let it settle. Awareness isn't loud, it's quiet. And once you have it, you can't unsee the game. If you've recognized patterns in your work, your relationships, your past, then this video did its job. You don't need to confront anyone. You don't need to explain anything. Just move differently. If you're ready to stop being positioned, to stop over-explaining, to stop paying attention where it's being drained, drop "I see the game" in the comments. Not for me, for yourself. And if you want to go deeper, if you want more strategies like this, broken down calmly and precisely, subscribe. Not for motivation, for clarity. Stay sharp, stay quiet, and remember, the most powerful move is being impossible to read.